hell are you doing?
Trying to get into YouTube mode. Listen, I just need you to do this thing. Like, I need you to do this one thing. It's, me forcing you is only going to make it easier the next time I force you. And then it's going to get to a point that you might come up with a video intro before I ever do. And then we can work together on that.
Welcome back, everybody. We're halfway home trying to finish out our predictions for the season, and it has not gone fast. We've had a lot of complications of getting in here to record, but tonight we're going to bring to you Alex's favorite division, the AFC West and the NFC West.
I just got one question for you. Why do you think the AFC West is my favorite division?
Because you get to watch your favorite team play in it.
Well, I've got a couple comments on that real quick. One, it's not my favorite division. My favorite team plays in it, but I don't like that division for two reasons. One, I hate the Raiders. And two, I put two up once. But one, I hate the Raiders. And two, have you ever watched the Chiefs play against any of these teams?
Usually not very entertaining games.
No, they are entertaining for the other team. So, no, to just nip that in the bud real quick, this is not my favorite division. But anyway, let's get into the video. We're going to start with the NFC West. I'm going to go first because I'll let you go first for the AFC West. How about that?
Fair enough.
All right. Leading off in the NFC West, we have, for me anyway, number one coming in first with a 12-5 record. I have the San Francisco 49ers. Number two, I've got the Seattle Seahawks coming in at 11-6. And then here is the separation for me. We come in number three. I've got the Rams finishing 5-12. And four, to no surprise, well, some might be surprised I've given them this many. Some might think they deserve more. I've got the Cardinals coming in 3-14.
That's pretty amazing because ours are very, 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 very similar, especially on the bottom. However, I'm going to take my baseball expertise and I'm going to go ahead and say that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win the division at an 11-6 clip. I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers second at a 10-7 clip. I follow that up with the LA Rams at a 6-11, and then I will take the Arizona Cardinals at 3-14. I think those were identical to yours. The only thing I want to discuss about my whole picks is the reason why the team with probably the best defense in football and probably the best offensive mind coaching staff with some of the best players, the only reason that I'm going to have them taking a setback is that Brock Purdy, I don't think is going to have a very good year. And if they have to rely on Sam Darnold, I'm going to go another step back. Brock Purdy had the equivalent of Tommy John. And a pitcher in baseball that comes back from Tommy John, whether they have the surgery or not, the first year is off. I feel like he's going to have a setback year. I don't think Darnold's going to mesh quite well. I think they're still going to win football games because they're a good team. I don't think they're going to win the division.
I have a lot of faith in Seattle. There is a lot of question marks about them. Can Geno, repeat what he did last year, which wasn't outstanding, like top-notch, top 3 quarterback stats, MVP, but it was pretty dang good, and nobody can argue that because no one thought he would win more than maybe 3 games last year. So he shocked the world. That team, in my opinion, already has DK, Tyler Lockett, and they got JSN. They've got a great run game if Kenneth Walker can stay healthy. They've got a couple tight ends that they're able to use effectively. Their defense has gotten better. they're the only we both agreed mutually with our picks. They're the only real threat to San Francisco. But let's go back over to San Francisco for a minute. I understand how you feel about you made a very good analogy with Brock Purdy and baseball and somehow tying these together. They've got the best roster in the division. Seattle is trying really hard to combat that. They're putting the pieces together. They're adding what they need as they go, and I respect that from them. But they've got the best roster in their division. There's no argument. Their offense is really good as long as all of their guys are there that they need. Christian McCaffrey turned that team from scoring like 14 to 18 points a game to almost 30 points a game just from him showing up last year. That doesn't take away from Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. They even drafted a couple wide receivers. I'm not 100% sure on their 53-man situation who made it and didn't, but I've got a pretty good idea. Also, there's obviously the controversy, the conversations having been had about Nick Bosa, but they were like, yeah, we're not trading him. He's not going to sit out. He's not going to pull a Chris Jones right now, I don't think. He'll play, and I think they're going to do whatever they can to keep him there his entire career. Like, that's just what's going to happen. But that defense, even without Nick Bosa, I would say is one of the best in the league, but with Nick Bosa, which I am confident that he's going to be there, that's a scary defense. And listen, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, anybody other than Trey Lance apparently can win 12 games with that team. Like, as long as you're not just throwing the ball up in the air and whoever gets it, gets it, if you're not giving away games, you're going to win them. I appreciate how you went about this, and I respect it because our win totals are not that far off, literally one game separating them. I had the Seahawks at 11-6. I feel way too confident. Like, do I think they'll make it to the Super Bowl? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know who's going to get hurt by the time they get there, but I think if they win less than 11 games this season was a waste for them.
I got you. And the thing of it is that San Francisco can go 10-7 and still go to the Super Bowl.
But I'm not saying they will, but I agree with you. But let's go over to the other side of this division and talk about the Rams a little bit. I feel like Rams fans specifically are going to be upset. I don't remember, you said 6-11 for you. I am at 5-12. I think that's their range. Like 5 to 6 wins. Got to be the weirdest team right now. You had more confidence in Baker Mayfield than you with the Buccaneers than you do with the Rams. Like, I know how I feel, but just stating that, like, I didn't even give Baker Mayfield that much credit.
Dude, I'm still in awe that I came to my conclusions with Baker, and I thought I'd have Tampa Bay at a 3-14 clip. I really did. And the more I went through it, the more I realized I feel like the Rams got several good players, and then they've got a bunch of young kids that really don't know the game. I love Sean McVay. I think he's a great coach. He's good, and they're going to get 6 wins because of him. If Fat Stafford gets hurt, it might be over for him. It might be the end of his career, because I know that they're talking about him like he's brittle. And then now we're hearing things that he's not meshing well with the rest of the team. I just feel like he might be done sooner rather than later.
Is Matt Stafford heavy?
Used to be.
Then why did you call him Fat Stafford? I think he's relatively slim. Because
I've heard that a ton of times.
Okay. Well, my worry about
And don't get me wrong, I do love Matt Stafford, honestly. I loved him in Detroit.
You love Matt Stafford, but yeah, you're the one to slander him in here. So
I know.
Your love just got
He did beat me in the Super Bowl. That's probably the reason why I slander him.
But anyway, back to the Rams. You're more focusing on Matt Stafford's physique, but what I am concerned with, other than, the concussion situation, like, that's a big deal. He can't take that many more shots to the head. Like, he's got to protect himself, and I don't know if that offensive line is going to protect him. My big issue that I'm having, he doesn't feel like he can connect with these young receivers. We saw that last year. The only guy he really had any kind of connection with was Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp's not even 100% healthy. He's had 2 hamstring issues in this preseason. This team needs a 100% healthy year. Like, they can't take all these blows left and right. They were just pulling guys from wherever they could because they didn't have anyone left.
2 biggest questions. Do you think they will have a running game this year that is anywhere effective? And with their offensive line, I don't think they're going to. I think Tyler Higbee's going to catch a lot of balls.
I like Tyler Higbee. I think 6 wins is optimistic. 5 wins feels close. My top note for the Arizona Cardinals this year, and let me get it right here, good and ready. Bad.
How many times did you write that?
Bad. Bad. They're going to be bad. They have to play the AFC North and the NFC East this year. Nobody wants to play either of those divisions. Like, let's be honest. Like, everyone's thinking, oh, well, the Commanders. No, the Commanders play them in week 1, and they're probably going to beat them.
Cutting Colt McCoy was them saying that they're tanking this year, trying for the number 1 pick. They've got a bunch of draft capital for next year. They're just trying to get through this year unscathed, get their best players healthy. Poor Buda Baker, they should just trade him. I know they got a ton of draft capital. I think they're just trying to get through this year. This year's a wash. Gannon's not going to be judged by his performance this year. Kyler Murray better get his stuff together, or Caleb Williams will be a Cardinal.
Fair enough. I've got nothing left to say about this team.
You ready for some AFC West talk?
Yeah, I'm so ready.
Dude, I actually think this division's going to be a little closer than what we've had it in the last couple years. I don't think it's going to be that close at the top. I'm going to go ahead, and my only 13-win team this year is Kansas City at 13-4. Because I think that until somebody within that division figures out how to beat them, they're only going to have 3 or 4 losses a season. Right after that, that's where it gets really complicated. I think the Chargers are in the same type of position they were in last year. I don't know that they got that much better. I think the division got a little tougher. I hold them in at 10-7 again. After that, I've got both. I've got the Raiders coming in 3rd at a miserable 8-9. And then I got Denver coming in 4th at 7-10. I love Sean Payton. I love what he's doing there. I still think Russell Wilson might be the problem.
You got me. I wasn't ready for that, I guess.
You know what? And I wasn't this way before. I had this picked out when I first started. Let me do that before you give your numbers. I had this picked out before where I had Denver at a 10-7 clip and the Chargers at a 9-8 clip, and then I had the Raiders at 5-12. I had that way picked the first time I went through this, and I just feel like karma's going to bite Sean Payton in the butt, and all this talk is not going to fix a bad team. The roster's still not great. I think my boy might be the bright spot at running back because he should still be in Cincinnati. Javonte Williams will be back, but I don't have a lot of faith in his health, and I think they need to run the ball effectively. And I'm just not convinced that Russell Wilson can compete in the AFC West.
All right.
I had this the other way, and I changed it.
Well, so I made all my picks. I went through my schedule before I found out that every single Denver wide receiver was injured. Okay, I knew about KJ Hamler, but the rest of them I found out afterwards. Now, it's so much work to go back through and change these schedules because then I would have to change all of the teams they play against that I wanted to change. So I decided I'm going to roll with it. And I am still fairly confident in it because, listen, if Sean Payton can elevate Russell Wilson, it doesn't matter who he's throwing to. Patrick Mahomes proves that every single year. If you can elevate your quarterback, it doesn't matter who your receivers are. So with that being said, also my only 13-win team I've got at number 1 obviously is the Chiefs. Could I put them at 15-2 or 14-3? Yes, I could have. And I had a really hard time with this, but I was trying to not be a homer. So at number 2, I've got the Chargers also coming in at 10-7. And I can't wait to talk about them as well. My number 3 is the Broncos at 9-8, just barely a winning record. And number 4, to nobody's surprise, except for yours, I guess, I've got the Raiders coming in at 5-12. And yeah, we'll talk about that because I'm not fighting with Raiders fans this week. Let's talk about my boys. They've got a pretty tough schedule. I'm not even going to lie to you. They actually have the 5th hardest schedule. The rankings come out, and since we're here, I'll go ahead and bring that list up because I found it kind of interesting. Right before we recorded this, that I read this, that the Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs are in the top 5 hardest schedules, with the other 2 being the Patriots and Dolphins. The top 5 easiest schedule is kind of laughable if you think about it, which we did. You know what? This was relevant, so I'm going to bring it up for just 1 second. But the 49ers have the 3rd easiest schedule this year, and that was what leaned me towards them winning that division. So done with the NFC West, but that I felt like that needed to be included. Anyway, the Chiefs, they play the Lions, the Jaguars, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Bills, and their own division, which arguably all of them but the Raiders got better. I'm not saying the Raiders got worse. I'm just saying they had some changes, some big changes. So I can't say that they got better until they show me that they did get better. That's a tough schedule. And then you following that, which is scary enough to say as is okay, we've got a really hard schedule, is our number 1 defensive player is on a current holdout, which they said today there was breaking news there. He's not going to get traded. They're just trying to figure this out as soon as possible. So, Chris, please just let's get through this, okay? We've got a lot of young wide receiver talent. There's 7 wide receivers on the roster, and I think Justin Watson might be the oldest one, and he might be the only one other than maybe MVS, but he's only in his 4th year. So, there's 7 wide receivers. They're all mostly really young. So it's going to be, I think the offense is going to look a little different. A lot of trickery. Trying to figure out what you can and can't do with some of these guys that haven't seen as much field time or haven't been on the field at all. And so I think that'll be fun to watch. They've got a great O-line, and I love their running backs. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I have this weird feeling in my stomach that he is going to have a top 3 running back season for no reason. My last note for the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It doesn't matter. None of it matters if you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Is Chris Jones going to play? Do I think we can get to the Super Bowl without him? Yeah. You know why? Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. We've never had a defense. Well, last year's defense was better, but Patrick Mahomes never had a defense fighting for him, a good one anyway. And so I love Chris, but if this is how it's going to go, then I still have just as much faith as if he was not there. That's where I'm at with it. I want Chris Jones on my football team. I want him to play football with us. I want playoff Chris Jones. If he wants to rest until week 10 and then come back rested for the playoffs and we can go win a Super Bowl, then I'm okay with that too. If that's what they choose to do. I don't know how all that works. I don't know if that's allowed.
I think players should play out their contracts, though. I really hate this sitting out thing.
I mean, I agree with you. Chris Jones thing is exhausting to me. It'd be like if Jamar Chase sat out for you and that's all anybody talked about. Like, it's never going to go away until they figure it out.
What do you think the biggest difference this year to last year with the Chargers is going to be? Because I know you had a lot to say.
They have a real offensive coordinator. I think that's pretty big. They added Quentin Johnson to their roster to bolster that offense a little bit. I think he was a good pickup. That's the kid from TCU. He's somewhere around there. I think the most important thing for the Chargers, not for the Chargers per se, the whole team, but this is a big year for Brandon Staley. I think this is his make or break year. There was a lot of talks about him last year, and management or upper guys cleaned house. They got rid of everybody underneath of him, and so now they brought in real coordinators and not some dude they picked up off the street. He needs to produce. Like there's no they need a playoff win. I feel like he's grown on me a little bit. I think he's got a lot to prove, but Kellen Moore coming in as a real, he has a background of having success with offense, to go along with Justin Herbert, who just got paid. They've got all of these guys they're putting around their franchise guy. Now, I think the key to their entire season, which is the key to all 32 teams, is they have to stay healthy.
So right now, as far as the beginning of their season goes, their injury report looks so much better than it did last year. Most of the guys on here are backups, third stringers, no real major player. All their starters are in line to be healthy at the beginning of the season. I was gonna comment a little bit further. One of the reasons I really I think Kellen Moore and Justin Herbert are a great combination, and it takes a lot of the pressure off Brandon Staley to making these quirky, half-witted decisions that he made as a head coach. But if you look at their wide receiver room, I'm gonna bring this up really quick. Their wide receiver room is absolutely flipping amazing. Right now, they got Mike Williams and Josh Palmer and Keenan Allen as their top three guys. Quentin Johnson is their rookie, who is a big Mike Williams type receiver, will probably replace him in a few years.
That kid has a little bit of speed too, doesn't he? For
Yeah,
his size.
They're almost identical. Him and Mike Williams are the same size, same weight, just differences is age. But Quentin Johnson was very, very, very fast. And then the other thing is this guy, they got another rookie receiver from TCU, believe it or not, and his name is Darius Davis. If you watched him last year, he is a 5'8" slot guy that is blistering fast. He's only 165. He is tiny, but he runs like the wind and should be able to get some really good separation because he runs great routes. I think this team has got a couple really good pieces on defense. They've got a great offense. Austin Eckler will be able to catch the ball a little bit more this year. Isaiah Spiller is still on that running back room, and he is a great pass catcher as well. Kellen Moore likes to score a lot of points. Dude, there's a lot of upside to this team, and if they stay healthy, they could challenge for the division. Don't think they're quite there yet, but be really dang close.
Moving on down to the Broncos, which you had the Raiders in third, but I'm just going in order and we can talk about both of them. I think we will see improvement, but not the kind of improvement you would just assume. Like, oh, they're just going to score more points. Like, people, they might have been like the lowest scoring team last year, but their defense was like neck and neck with the 49ers of not allowing points. Like, they were allowing like 13 points a game or something like that. That's why every game was, boring to watch of theirs, because it was just a defensive match back and forth. So I think there's going to be improvement. I think the defense will get better. I know that they lost some pieces at the trade deadline last year, and it kind of made their defense look a little different. I don't have anything negative to say in terms of this year with that defense. Like, I think it will either be the same or better. What else do I have here? The wide receiver injuries, like I mentioned, it's in my notes now because I wrote the notes after I did the schedules. But if you can make your quarterback good, it does not matter who he's throwing the ball to. So 9 wins is still achievable with practice squad wide receivers. We haven't heard as much from Russell Wilson since Sean Payton's come in the building, and that means things have already improved. I think they'll get better. I don't think they'll be perfect. There's always growing pains with a new coach or a new quarterback or a new team or whatever it is. There's always growing pains. Like, they're not going to come out and be perfect. Sean Payton is probably the only guy that was fit to help this team, but we also don't know which version of Sean Payton we're going to get. So we'll see when it happens. That's why I put them in the mid-range. Not too high, not too low, because I don't think they're going to drop too low. Like, that defense almost gave them a winning record last year, and they didn't do anything. So, I can't put them too low. Like, I think their floor's got to be like 7 wins is at the minimum, but like, I can't put them too high yet because we haven't watched them play.
I do like their roster. If they go out with Samaje Perine and Javonte Williams and are able to run the ball,
Love those guys, both of them,
effectively, I think that says a lot. That says a lot to what their season could look like. I think karma's going to kick in a little bit. I feel like they're going to need some help at wide receiver. I don't know if Marvin Mims is hurt or not, the rookie from Oklahoma, but he's a playmaker that nobody's really talked a lot about. I know Tim Patrick's hurt. Jerry Jeudy is hurt.
KJ Hamler.
I don't even think he's listed as on the team right now.
I think KJ Hamler's was a season-ending injury, though.
Gotcha. I like their tight end, Greg Dulcich.
Dulcich.
Dulcich. I don't know how to say it, but I do like him.
No, I like him too. I was really one move they made that I was kind of confused about was Albert OK, the big O, when they traded him to Philly. I didn't want him to go to Philly, but I'm glad he's out of my division. But I like that guy, so I was kind of confused about it. I don't keep up with the Broncos enough to know why they did it, but hopefully he has success there.
I think my favorite thing about the rest of the Broncos is that I don't know any of the name players that's on their offense or their defense that are in the trenches. I don't keep up with them. Their names are not super familiar to me. And that must mean that Sean Payton's doing a pretty good job of, just coaching these guys to play football and staying off camera. Mike McGlinchey on the offensive line is the only one I'm really familiar with.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're going to have an interesting year. Not good, not bad. Well, it could be good, but I don't think it'll be bad. So that's where I stand with them.
Interested in your take on the Raiders.
Oh, so I listed them at 5-12, and people are gonna be like, they're not that bad of a team. Well, listen, Josh McDaniels is still there, so I almost have more faith in the Cardinals to do better this year. Except for the Cardinals don't have Devontae Adams because they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. So, not comparing those two guys either. That's a whole nother conversation. I love Devontae, and I think he's still going to be a key piece. He's going to be one of those putting the team on his back kind of guys because that's how he's kind of always been. But they've got Jimmy G now. Will he stay healthy? That's he just broke his foot or whatever. I don't know if he's ever played a fully healthy season. Like, it's always his ankle or his foot or something happened. So we don't know if he's going to stay healthy. Don't ask who the backup quarterback is because I don't know.
Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell.
Okay, so an old Patriots guy. I got it. Josh McDaniels.
And a rookie.
I think Jimmy stays healthy. They got a fighting chance to win more than 5 games. I will say that. They did lose Darren Waller, and although he wasn't very present last season because of injury, I just don't think he wanted to be there. I do think he was hurt, but I don't really feel like he wanted to be there anymore. It felt like Kadarius Toney with the Giants. He wanted to be set free, but I would have liked to see this team with Darren Waller and Devontae this season. So good luck to him in New Jersey. But like I said, they got Devontae. I think they still have Hunter Renfrow. I
Myers.
believe they still have Foster Moreau also. No,
Nope.
he's a Saint.
He's a Saint.
Okay, I don't even know who their tight ends are then.
Their tight ends are Hooper and
Austin
Michael
Hooper.
Mayer from Notre Dame.
Michael Mayer, that's right.
That's the two I know.
You're right. Those two guys, I think they'll see a lot of balls thrown their way. And they still have Josh Jacobs. I don't have any faith in their defense other than their D-line either.
Their D-line is pretty awesome. They added Tyree Wilson with their pick in the first round.
I liked that pick from them. That was like the first time they didn't botch a first-round pick. You know, like that was a good first-round pick.
And then I think they got, Max Crosby and Chandler Jones are still both there. After that, I don't know anybody else. I can't think of anybody else I know on the defense.
Yeah, I know once I start watching football, I'm going to be able to be like, that's who that is, that's who that is, that's who that is. But I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the Raiders. So
Marcus Peters is
I forgot they signed him. That was gross. That was
that's
gross.
it. But that's all I can think of on that team.
I remember when that report came across my phone and I felt like I needed to take a shower. Like, ugh. He should have just stayed in Baltimore.
Yeah, other than just a few really high-name players, they don't have a lot.
This is my real, like, the cold, hard truth take about the Raiders. I don't think they'll ever succeed under Josh McDaniels.
I had them reversed with Denver and with the Chargers on my first go through, and I all of a sudden developed hate for Sean Payton. I don't know why. And
I can't, man. I can't.
And then I gained some love because I honestly feel like Jimmy Garoppolo will do a better job of running the team than Derek Carr did.
I don't think so. Like,
with this current setup of coaching,
maybe with this setup of coaching, okay, I'll give you that. But the thing is like, I will not sit here and slander Derek Carr or Jimmy G, and if I do, they will equally be slandered. There's no more one towards the other. Like Jimmy G, if you could stay healthy, you're just fine. Like Derek Carr, if you threw a little bit less interceptions, you'd be just fine. Like there's my two pieces. Like one of them needs to stop twisting his ankle every time he walks, and the other one just needs to calm down when he airs it out. Like other than that, they're fine. Like if I needed a backup, because obviously I don't need a quarterback and you don't need a quarterback, but if I needed a backup, I would be more than happy to put either of those guys behind me. You know, like I would trust them in, a situation where I needed someone for 2 quarters of a game. Like I would trust them for that. But long term, it's nothing to do with Jimmy. It's all Josh McDaniels. Like I feel like this team could win 8 games or more with anybody else. Like I don't know. Like other than the Ohio State coach that couldn't coach the Jags, like other than him. But that's all it is. It's not even because I hate them. The only reason I'm giving them such a terrible taste is because Josh McDaniels. I hope he proves me wrong because he's had 52 chances in the NFL. He's got to get it right eventually. I don't think he will. And I'm going to keep saying that until he does, right? Like there's no way I'm going to entertain like, "Oh no, things are going to be better. He's going to do so much better. He's got Jimmy G now. Oh my god, Jimmy G's going to save the freaking world." Like Jimmy G's coming off foot surgery. Like what do you expect from him? He's going to try to stand in the pocket as long as possible. He's going to try to not scramble because like I said, he can't walk without twisting his ankles. And, they're going to hope for the best. And they're going to hope that Josh Jacobs can run for 400 yards a game.
I'm kind of regretting my pick with Denver or with the Denver and the Raiders a little bit. but I'm going to stick it out and be wrong if I'm wrong. If Jimmy Garoppolo
Listen,
has
the difference, I know you said like you have a weird hatred for Sean Payton now. The difference between Sean Payton and Josh McDaniels and Denver and Vegas this year is Sean Payton is not afraid to say anything. He's not afraid to do anything. He'll bench Russell Wilson if he's playing bad. Josh McDaniels couldn't make that decision, right? He wouldn't bench Russell Wilson. You know, Sean Payton is cold, and he gives the hard truth. If he doesn't like something, you're gonna know it. Josh McDaniels, when I look at him, I think like if I go to a daycare, I'm gonna see him in the playpen, right? Like there is no, I don't see any fight in him. Just because he worked with Bill Belichick doesn't make him stern. There's just nothing there. I feel like he's got no guts.
and the bad part is that we're sitting here putting a lot of discussion into the bottom half of the division.
Because that's what's more talked about right now, right?
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs and Chargers deserve to have all the spotlight on them, and everyone should be talking about them, but the only people who talk about the Chiefs disrespect them, and the only people who talk about the Chargers are their fans.
You ready to get this one over so we can do the next one?
But the next one we got, like I said, we got the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Packers, Vikings, Lions, and the Bears.
The Bears.
So make sure you hit that like and subscribe, turn our bell on, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about our AFC, NFC West predictions for the season. And also, if you have not yet, be sure to check out our first two videos covering the other half of the NFC AFC that we've already talked about.
If you haven't joined our Pick'em Challenge for the season, it's over at CBS. The link will be in the description below. Be sure that you get your picks in before Thursday night. Therefore, we can have our competition. Last year came down to the wire, and I bet it'll be just as tight this year. My first week one picks, I've already got in. I know Alex probably picked hers too, and I was really surprised at where I ended up on some of those. Can't wait to do that, and we will see you guys on the next one.